Okay, I hope you guys can all hear me. Awesome. I seem to have fixed the YouTube chat as well, so hopefully from last meeting where just basically my stream software just like exploded on me, I seem to have fixed it. I can see chat. Hopefully YouTube can hear me. I'm just giving it a minute since we did the ping. A few minutes late, just technical difficulties. When are there not technical difficulties, really? Awesome. It's not so much technical difficulties either, honestly. It was more like, did I remember everything I needed to do beforehand?
Took me way too long to find the button to join you.
Well, I was just join in and then start the event, so I would probably fail to find the button myself. So I understand that.
I joined and then there's a button that says speak on stage or something like that. I'm like, is this it?
Yes. Technically, this is considered the stage. I don't know why they had to give it like fancy names, but I mean, whatever. Okay, I think we've given enough time. Some people are still coming in, but we can get started. So first, thank you everyone for coming to the community meeting. As always, we are streaming this directly to our YouTube. If you would like to ask a question during the meeting, you still need to post it in the Discord meeting questions channel, which is currently open as we had no pre-submitted questions this week. So you guys can put any questions you have in there right away if you have them. First up, I'm going to launch into just a tiny bit of an update. Obviously, you guys know that we are working very hard on the RPG project that we've discussed. Currently, there is the Paradise server up and running so that you can play a mostly vanilla experience and at least hang out and build and all sorts of things. So you do have the ability to play and have fun with the community while we are working on the RPG project. A small kind of content-related update for you guys, because we obviously can't share everything that's currently in development, but we wanted to give you a small insight into what we're currently doing. Is we, at this point, are planning to release content in kind of a chapter structure. So what I mean by that is very similarly to how some like MMOs like Final Fantasy and I think WoW does this as well, where they will release content as kind of like a bundle or I mentioned Genshin too. I'm not familiar with Genshin, but so we plan to do that as well. so that there is things for people to play around with, and then there will be more content. This is also eases things on our development team, as not everything that we have planned will have to be completely finalized all at once to release the server. So this should also be able to let us get things running much faster for everyone to play around and have fun with. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that as well. But that's pretty much our update, short of we've been working very hard on our development of the project. Obviously, we took, time off for the holiday for those who celebrate Thanksgiving. And I hope everyone who does also had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I gorged myself on mashed potatoes, as per standard. So, now that that's done, pretty much this is just going to be the Q&A portion. We don't have any pre-submitted questions from this week, so if anyone has a question, you can type it up in the meeting questions channel, and we'll go from there. Okay, good. People are typing. I was about to say, okay, cool. Nice meeting. Obviously.
Wrap it up.
Yeah, right. I mean, obviously, you guys know that a lot of our development-sided things, our answers are probably going to be like, not sure yet, but like, you can still always ask. I mean, you never know. And also, maybe it'll spark inspiration. I like that a lot of times the meeting questions have like sparked like, ooh, we could do this. So that's always fun for me. I apologize if you can hear a noise in the background. I think that's my mother's coffee machine.
I hear like a TV in the background.
Okay, I don't understand how people can hear a TV in the background sometimes with my mic when I am across the house from the TV and I can't hear it. But I've had friends of mine who are like, "Oh, are your parents watching Family Feud and stuff?" Like, was able to pick out what show they're watching. I'm like, how are you doing this? Apparently my mic is more powerful than I think.
And I just feel like some conversation.
Watching Harry Potter.
I just heard watching Harry Potter.
Yes, that's my mother. She's sassing me.
If they're watching Harry Potter, they can turn it up as loud as they want.
Mom, Brad said if you're watching Harry Potter, you can turn it up as loud as you want. All right. All right, now that the hilarity is out of the way. So, question. Would there be a nether/end in player-owned areas? I'm going to assume player-owned area, you mean the little like pocket dimensions that we had discussed. I'm unsure. I don't know if we have a concrete plan for that. I assume that since the whole point is for you guys to have like a build area, that we would probably want to make some way for like nether and end supplies at minimum to be accessible. I don't know about fully like exploring a nether and end. We have mentioned previously that we might be able to do something like a resource world, so perhaps we could have a nether and an end resource alongside that. I'm not entirely sure. That's something we kind of have to actually like work out a full plan for, and I think it will also depend on what's capable in whatever plugin we use to do the pocket dimensions as well. So, something to keep in mind. But we don't have a concrete plan for it at the moment that we can share.
From what I can tell, I think it's probably gonna be there's gonna be like one big nether world that everyone will be able to. Everyone will, no matter where you are. Everyone will go to the same one.
I mean,
same with the end.
Basically like a resource world in that sense.
Yeah.
So that's probably what will happen, but you know me, I don't like to give definites if we're not sure it's definitely happening.
You'd be able to break and build or whatever, but I feel like you'd probably reset it every once in a while.
Yeah, same as what we were doing with the resource world before, it was to be reset periodically, and you could build, but it was at your own risk of stuff poofing. So
yeah.
Okay. Question. Do we have an implementation date to come in the future, like 2024-ish? Yes. I don't think we have an exact concrete date at the moment because we're trying to get things done as fast as possible, but inevitably with any project, delays happen due to life and other constraints, so that can always set things back. I think we're on a pretty decent pace at the moment, but I don't think we have a concrete date, but I think we would ideally like it as soon as possible, so I think we're currently hoping sometime in January. But I don't really feel like we have enough to give you a concrete date of any sort at this point. We're basically like aiming for beginning of 2024, but it's more of a penciled in than a penned in date. So.
Yeah, I don't have an answer for that other than
Yeah.
soon
TM, our Vox standard. But we're hoping it's more sooner TM than
later.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest, I have a headache, guys, so my words are not concrete today. I can't words today. We'll get there. Okay. Nothing major. I'm fine. It's fine. Okay. Question. I demand to know if y'all are doing okay. How be everyone? I love and appreciate everything y'all do for us. First of all, we love you too. That's why we're here, is we love the community, each other, and Vox, and want to help. So, I believe the majority of us do have whatever remnants of sanity we had left still. But, I mean, it's...
Sorry.
Thank you, Jordy. But I said whatever remnants we had left. I didn't indicate that we're all sane.
You're funny.
But everyone, I think, for the most part, is at least, doing okay, managing. It's kind of getting also to that time of year where a lot of people get busy with family, and it's also, the season of seasonal depression. So, just, I'm gonna take the opportunity to remind you guys what I remind other people too. Make sure you take care of yourself. Make sure you take breaks if you need it. Make sure you have some fun in your life. Make sure, just to take care of yourself physically and emotionally, right? This time of the year, especially, can be tough for a lot of people, and, somewhat hard for the community too. So just make sure to take care of yourselves. So. I'm not the greatest at it myself, but I did remember to eat today, so that's positive.
Yay, food.
Okay. Next question. Any chance that we can get a reset on the nether/end on Paradise, since majority of the stuff close to the spawns have been explored, looted, conquered, etc.? We are flying 12 to 16,000 blocks away from our nether portal to find custom stuff that hasn't been looted yet. I'm not sure how easy it would be, but I imagine we could probably do that if it becomes a huge issue.
So we
Some
can discuss, because some people have put a lot of time and effort into building those roadways and stuff. And
Yeah, that's the other thing to consider is we don't necessarily want to just like wipe out people's stuff without any warning since we hadn't established we were going to do that ahead of time. But it is something that like we could discuss. And I know people were making one in the Nether specifically. I'm not sure if people were making a highway necessarily in the End, but so we could also do like one and not the other, or you know, we can kind of see. We can discuss it, but that is also sort of the nature of the way a server works. Is sometimes you're gonna have to go a bit of ways to find stuff. Something we can discuss. We just won't make any promises at this time, but something we can discuss for sure. Okay, question. Any behind the scenes streams planned on development work type thingies, whatever it's called? So we had mentioned before that we were planning to do some of those. Things have gotten like shifted around, schedules and all sorts of, delays on stuff. Normal human life. We do still plan to do some of those content or development type of things when we have the capacity to do some. I know Esther is planning on hopefully doing some in the next week or two of some of the building process as we work on some of the builds for the adventure map. Personally, I would be willing to stream some of my development stuff, but mostly it's just staring at a list of 30 names and wondering why Brad doesn't like any of them. So I'm not sure how interesting that would be for a stream. But we do want to do some development related things. I think the building ones will probably be the most interesting that we could do right at this moment, because as much as people want to necessarily see them, sometimes testing plugins is really boring. However, we do have to get to testing some plugins, so that might be something that we can also stream, especially if it's me trying to mess with the quest stuff, because that's going to be probably a pain in the butt, and everyone loves to see me frustrated. So the long answer is the short answer. Sorry, the short answer is yes. We would love to do some more content related streams, and we do plan to do some. So, question: is jobs testing coming to a paradise near some of us? I know that Ray wanted to do some jobs testing. I'm not sure when we are going to implement that. But we do, I believe the plan is still to do some testing of jobs, but I'm not sure exactly when we're going to get that onto Paradise for actual testing. So, yes, but no planned date yet.
Yeah, I got nothing on that. So, what's a question for Jen, but we have no Jen today.
Yeah, just it again, I'm not trying to make like excuses, but like the staff team, we're all, normal functioning adults mostly, and we're human. We have lives and stuff like that also still take precedence. So sometimes certain things get delayed, and sometimes we just don't have concrete answers. You guys understand that, I'm sure. I just feel like it's always worth repeating. trying to think if there's anything else that we can mention, but
no, I got nothing.
I'm actually trying to think of we don't have like full details on it ready for release yet, but we are planning to do races. I think we've mentioned that before. So we have actually been working on those. So that's going to be fun. I don't think that you guys are going to like how complicated some of them may be to get. Like, you know, I can't make vampire very easy, you know. Then everyone would just, you know, start off as a vampire, and that's just too OP.
We could reveal the second from last quest that we planned.
I don't remember what you're talking about. Oh, I don't remember what you're talking about.
You're gonna laugh so hard.
Okay, Yaya posted a GIF, and I thought that was you.
No.
Oh, that one! Yes, of course. Yes, of course.
That quest will be somewhere along the storyline.
I actually had a great idea. I had a great idea for that. I don't know if I should tell you the idea right now, but
We can talk later.
Nah, it's totally a joke that we should just put it in the werewolf questline somewhere. Alright, next question. Will head collections still be a thing? I have collected a bunch of random heads found in the nether/end on the walls of my house. I mean, I'm not sure. I think we talked about not doing like the ceremonial Chris thing again and with the cutting off of people's heads, but I don't think we ever landed on an exact concrete decision regarding that. As for like decoration type of things, I'm not sure if we will have custom ones or not. That really hasn't gotten to the point of deciding that sort of detail yet. As well as there is the like vanilla capacity for like head dropping if you do the like charged creeper thing, killing a mob. I know that works in vanilla, so like technically that probably would still be a thing. I have no idea how you would set that up to happen. I think it would just happen by accident, but essentially what I'm saying is at this point I'm not entirely sure where we're gonna be on like custom heads and decorations and stuff. Obviously when we have like the build world where players can interact and do stuff, we want you guys to be able to have fun and decorate your builds and stuff, so there's the capacity that we can do stuff like the custom blocks again and custom heads and decorations and things like that. I'm just not entirely sure on what we're gonna do for certain yet regarding all of that. I understand that people like collecting the heads. I kind of did too. It would like certain ones especially. Like I was way too proud of the last Vox boxes, or not the last one, but one of the, no, I think it was the last one, of the Yu-Gi-Oh heads. I totally did not put all of those together because I have been a Yu-Gi-Oh fangirl for a long time. But, yeah. Only to have them all wiped out. Basically, stay tuned. We definitely want to consider decorations and the ability to, customize your space too. So we'll see where we land on that. We just don't have a concrete decision or details yet. I already know the answer to this question, and I don't think people are going to like it, but question, will VoxBox come back when we move to the new area? Probably not, or at least not in that form. The VoxBox itself had become, to the point of the effort that it took to put into it, had become very much not worth the time and energy and effort that went into it. There were plenty of times where I was doing a majority of like the organization of it, and the GM's great with the toy ideas, don't get me wrong, but like the effort that it took to like come up with the ideas, put them all together, organize them, get people working on the individual aspects that they had to do, it would take upwards of like 2 to 3 weeks to put the whole box like fully together. And by the point you're done with that, you're about to release it, and then you have to start all over on the next month's, and it was very hard to get anything else done. On top of the fact that, I mean this with all love for the community, it wasn't selling. We've never like told people you have to buy it or anything like that. Like I at no point am I trying to shame anybody who couldn't afford it or didn't want to buy it. That's absolutely understandable. But they used to be the main portion of how Vox made the funds that it took to keep the server running. It was no longer at that point anymore. And that's why we decided to discontinue it, because it was just much more effort than it was giving back. It was a large dump of our resources for, unfortunately, very little gain in the end. I'm not saying we couldn't put like different pieces of it ever again, like that we won't ever have custom toys, or that we couldn't have like a small amount of decorative cards, but like doing them in that format, absolutely not gonna happen. The cards themselves were just a pain. I don't think it is against the EULA, because it wasn't gambling in any sense. It was the mystery package that was against the EULA. Which was, of course, the thing that was selling the best, by the way. That's why we had to discontinue the mystery package, was because it qualified under their weird, vague rules as a degree of gambling, which they don't allow. And that will also answer any questions of anybody asking if we'll ever have a casino again. No. Basically, it's just essentially it's better to invest time and energy into different projects. It's not to say we couldn't have custom toys, titles, emotes, that kind of thing, but we would be more likely to release them in like small packages or something like a subscription, like the Vox Pass that had been thrown around a few times, especially while Amy was still here, of like a subscription where you can get some things in it like every month or something of that nature, for much less of a cost and way less effort than it would take to put together like a huge Vox box all over again. So we're not against like custom items and custom things of that nature, but in the form of Vox box, not going to be likely to make a return anytime soon, if at all. It was just too massive after a while. And for a lot of people, even when we lowered the cost of it from like $45 to $30 US, for some people it was still like double that because of, taxes and different countries and stuff like that. But $30 is a lot to spend all at once. Whereas like a lot more people sometimes have that like free, like $5 like we had for the mystery package. Things of that nature. All right. Okay, next question. has anything been implemented while I've been gone? I've been gone since the vote to either keep Vox or nuke it. I know about Brad being the new owner, but I was wondering if there'd been anything added, unless it's just vanilla strictly right now. Okay, so the brief answer to your question is right now the server is in a strictly vanilla, quote-unquote, paradise mode is what we've basically called it, because it's the last time we did a vanilla version of the server, it was called Paradise. If you are looking for more details on what all has gone on since the vote, I would recommend that you check out the announcements channel, but also if you check out the October community meeting notes, which are also in the announcements channel, linked in the announcements channel, I did do a TLDR of like what had generally gone on since the vote, summed up, so it's a lot less of a huge amount to read, but if you want to keep up to date on everything that's changed, I would recommend reading the announcements and the community meeting notes. But the playing experience at the moment is vanilla while we work on the RPG project. Soul Weapon sounds lamer to me than Sentience, I'm just gonna be honest. Not currently on the vanilla server. It's supposed to be more of a, as I drop my back scratcher, it's supposed to be more of a vanilla experience playing right now while we develop the custom content. Okay. I'm gonna pause and take a drink now. I'm not sure I understand what you mean, Navy, but alright. Well, if anyone has any more questions, please pop them into the meeting questions channel. Okay, I see typing. I was about to say, I'm gonna give it a couple more minutes, but this is a back scratcher, by the way. For anybody looking at the stream, I'm playing with a back scratcher because my hands want something to do. I like really need like a fidget toy right now. I see some other people typing too. Some people are a little self-conscious about their typing. Question. Will the dark altar thing in the end be fixed in Paradise? I also have no idea what the dark altar thing is. I'm assuming it's something from the Incendium stuff. And Jin has just said that that can't be fixed without an end reset.
An end reset would be, it's terrible. Just the nether reset, I don't want to upset people who built those roads. I think an end reset would be, I mean, nobody's building there, they're not allowed to. I guess technically they weren't allowed to build in the nether either, were they?
There wasn't... We've never had rules about people not being able to build in the nether, though. There used to be like no anti-grief protections if people built in the Nether, but those have long since not been a thing either.
So is it griefing if we totally wipe the Nether and put a new one in?
It was the Nether roof that was off limits, yeah. But that's because usually it requires glitching through things to get to the roof of the Nether in the first place. Jen is also saying that an end reset could possibly break other things. So, I mean, to be fair, what have we done that doesn't have the risk of breaking other things most of the time? I'm trying to think of something to like talk about while waiting for people to type, but I'm like, I can't. My brain is like not wanting to function right now. Oh, my Thanksgiving was awesome, Burb. For 4 people, my dad made 5 pounds of mashed potatoes, and it's not enough. They're almost gone. My dad makes really good mashed potatoes. I love how on the stream, I have a stationary picture up, but because my internet is kind of sometimes trash, I have like 10,000 dropped frames, and it's like, it's just my face. I'm okay with it dropping my face. I don't know what the Towering Inferno is. So I'm going to go with I haven't taken it on, at least. Question. Will there be more discussion about a shared overworld to build in, or is that set in stone already? Everyone I've talked to is concerned about that as a major thing. So when we talked about the resetting of Vox and going in a new direction, the whole point was that we will have an adventure-style RPG map, which will not be buildable in, but will be explorable, and will have a story, quests, and all sorts of things to it. And to give people a place to have a base, to still have a little place, a slice of home to call their own, we would have the kind of pocket dimension player build area, not a giant, massive shared overworld to build in. That is something that we've had on Old Vox, and we can do one or the other. And I mean, theoretically we could do both, but the amount of upkeep it would be to have so many, like, to have that massive overworld map again alongside a big RPG world map, it likely would not work very well together and would probably cause a lot of the same issues that we'd had with having the multiple maps on older Vox. We're trying to move in kind of a new direction with it. And we've been talking about this for a while now. We are not likely to change our minds on having a big, massive overworld just for people to build in. We are open to the idea of like a resource world where you can gather materials and things, but a big, massive overworld that everyone is just building in is just not in the plans anymore. So. sorry to be the bearer of disappointing news, but that has basically been what the discussion has been pretty much since the vote that was taken about ending Vox, and that is where we are with it.
Restarting.
Yeah, the restart and changing things up. Question: what is the upcoming server's monetization strategy?
Yeah, Violet, what is it?
I mean, Brad, it's your server. Maybe you should be the one. The strategy.
I was waiting.
The strategy is that we're gonna have one. We don't currently have one, but we're gonna have one. Honestly,
We did. We have the basic stuff, like we do ranks.
We have some basics worked out. Like, we do plan to have custom ranks. I briefly touched on it earlier, the whole idea of like a Vox Pass, which is like sort of a small subscription fee that will net you different things. We have not worked out everything that's going to be potentially attached to something like that, which is why I haven't given details on all of that. But there's a lot of different things that we could do attached to something like that as well. As I mentioned before, we could also have some degree of like custom toys and like titles or things of that nature, or emotes or something that could still be like small purchasable packages. I think we still want to do like the custom blocks, which went up like 2 days before everything fell apart, but because we do plan to still use those really nice looking custom blocks, so we could have those available. We can do a lot of things that aren't like a giant Vox box. We're going to be more into the idea of trying to do smaller packages, things that are a more affordable bite at a time, as opposed to a big giant like $30 purchase every time. Ranks will probably be one of the more expensive things, honestly. But it's pretty clear after like the last year with like doing like the mystery packages and stuff that the smaller like $5 at a time purchase was a lot more palatable to a lot more people. It was a lot easier for people to spend $5 instead of $30. So pretty much the goal at the moment is going to be like smaller packages. But we don't have everything fully worked out as to what will be for sale or what we can do. There's a lot we can do, even working around the EULA. But the other part is we do have to, when we come up with ideas, we do have to make sure they're going to be EULA compliant as well. So another step in the process. Question: expandable adventure map. A lot of players beat the Paradise map stuff already and seem to have taken breaks. Will there be new areas similar to DLC expansion that have new bosses, armors, gears, etc.? So, are you talking about for Paradise? Because no. The answer for if it's for Paradise is no. But what I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting was that we were planning to do the RPG release in a chapter style setup, which in this case would basically have, you would have an area unlocked and you will explore that area, go through the story of that area. And when we release the next chapter, that would expand the map. So where you would have a new area unlocked, new quests, new tasks, new things to explore. So that's what I mean when, that's probably a better explanation for what I mean when I'm talking about like chapters. It's going to be basically like build upon what was already like released. So you'll have like a new area that becomes available that will have more stuff to deal with. But we're going to do that in like technically smaller chunks. So it won't just be, we have to have the entire world completely ready all at once, because that will probably take a longer while than everyone would want to wait. But if we do it in this like chapter release schedule, it's not only is it a smaller chunk for staff to work on individually and together at a time, but it also gives you guys things to do while we're developing content for the next and the next and the next area. Unfortunately, we like, Esther's not wrong. Given our team and everything, like, if we had to have the entire thing completely ready to go before we launched, it would probably not happen anytime soon, if at all. Unfortunately, that's why the chapter kind of structure is working a lot better, because it gives us not only an area of focus at one time, but it also makes kind of chunks the whole project into smaller portions, which is a lot easier to work on and get done. So okay, I'm gonna just be honest, I'm not entirely sure how to answer this next question, so I'm gonna try. But
well, so I went and counted, and it's, if you count me and you, who are going to be definitely
well, let me read the question first, Brad, for the stream and the video.
No. No.
Question: what is the current size of our current development team, and what, to your best estimate, are they capable in of a given period of time? Well, I'm also trying to give my note takers time to take notes. So the team itself is small-ish, but we also have the staff team is sectioned out into like different like subgroups. Like, as an example, we have a disciplinary side of things and we have a development side of things. Disciplinary is like the mods and mod-in trainings and admins. And they're in charge of, you know, keeping the chaos and punishing rule breakers, and so don't break the rules, because then you make Burb very sad and angry. And then the development side of things is primarily who works on, you know, development of content. But within the development team, we have the GMs, we have the CMs, we have the architects, and we have artists, you know, so we have multiple different teams. Yes, but Burb, you're the cute little Burb that no one should want to make sad. That's why I picked you. Little doesn't have full mod powers yet, or I would tell everyone to, like, not make her mad. But nobody should want to make Burb sad. So amongst the teams, we do have... It really depends on, like, the team and what tasks they're, like, working for. Like, with the GM team, we have 3, including Jin, and that's Ray, Fred, and Jin. And individually, they are capable of some crazy stuff. Working together, it's even better. But the problem is that there's still only 3 people who also have lives, jobs, and things like that to consider too. So they can get a crazy amount of stuff done, especially when they do that thing they do where they don't take a break, which is also concerning. I recently brought on several more CMs to help with the project of writing, but we still have a team of, including myself, 6, I think. My math is correct. So it really can vary based on the team and also what their tasks really are. Writing is sometimes not... It seems like it could be an easy process, but sometimes it's really not. It can be very hard to get started on certain things, as well as, like, working together in a team. You have to make sure that everyone's not only on board, but also up to speed, so that we don't end up with conflicting ideas and miscommunications. Because miscommunication is honestly probably one of the biggest things that, like, slows anything down, is a miscommunication or a misunderstanding. So we have to be very careful amongst the entire team to make sure that we are getting everyone up to speed appropriately and staying up to speed with everything that's going on, which can be hard when there's a lot of stuff going on. So there really isn't an easy answer to this question, because it really completely depends on what they're capable of, and, like, individually besides the team. And then what they're also supposed to be working on. A good example for me is that we talked about the Voxbox earlier. Ray and Fred were primarily the ones making like toys. I would send them over ideas, which took a while sometimes to come up with amongst suggestions or the staff team or my brain or Ray and Fred's brains and stuff of that nature. But once they had a concrete idea in mind, it wasn't usually very hard for them to grind out the item decently quickly as long as the plugins played nice. And that's another problem, is that sometimes our tools, our plugins, or even your internet, I mean, so many different things can interfere with the development process that are outside our control even. So there is no real concrete way to give like an estimate of a full estimate of like what are the whole development team capable of in a given time, because every task is going to be different, and every task is also going to have its own sort of like timeline of what's like reasonable to do, you know. So there isn't really a concrete way to kind of answer that question, and I'm circling now, but yeah. It's a good question. It's just not something that's easy to answer with the way that our development process really works. And for my note takers, if you've missed stuff, don't worry. We can always go over the VOD later and rewrite it. It's totally fine. I speak fast a lot, I know that. See, I love the idea of multiple endings. I don't know if it's possible, because we still have to play around with the plugin that's going to be doing the quest stuff. But also the way that we plan to like release content. I'm not sure if we would ever have like a true definite like this is the end and nothing ever comes, because we might do, well, this is the end of that story, here's a new story, to keep content going, to give you guys more to do, because we're also building a world that is hopefully going to feel fairly like fleshed out and well-rounded, and that doesn't mean that you tell one story that no other stories exist in that world, so we can always go back and have more stories. My brain died 2 hours ago. We're fine, guys. Alright, I'm gonna give you guys like 4 more minutes. If anybody has any questions, please put them in the meeting questions channel. Otherwise, we're gonna call it. I will also remind everybody, like, if you don't have a question like right now, or if you can't think of a question and it comes to you later, you can still always reach out to staff and ask us questions regardless of whether or not we're having a meeting. We might not have an answer for you, but most of the staff members might know who to direct you to for an answer. And sometimes we just don't have answers yet because we haven't worked everything out. But that doesn't mean you can't ask. Okay, Navy, you need to stop giving Yaya ideas before I find out what the plugins are capable of, because Yaya would probably love having the idea of killing an NPC. Honestly, if it's possible with the plugins, I imagine you guys will probably hate us if we do any sort of escort quest.
No!
Technically, you don't get a say in that completely. Well, that depends on whether or not we can even make NPCs move.
Escort questionable first.
We can. I found out last week.
Oh, yay! We weren't completely sure yet. Or my brain skipped out. I don't know. There's been a lot to keep track of. I have been in charge of keeping track of a lot of stuff. My brain has probably dissolved at this point. But I feel like we could do reasonable escort quests. Like, I understand how much they stink in video games, but like, if more like the ones who move super slow and they take forever, like there's nothing dangerous, but you stand there for 10 minutes waiting. I hate those. Maybe we could be like, you have to escort quest them on a minecart and you have to run after the minecart. That could be fun. Oh, I'm kidding. Probably. Alright, I haven't seen anyone typing in the questions channel in a bit, so I'm probably going to close that in a minute. A nice, short meeting is always good. Not that an hour is technically short, but it's shorter than some meetings we've had. You guys had a lot of real nice questions today. Like, not that I'm against any questions you guys want to ask pretty much, but like, thank you for asking a lot of good questions. It was kept my brain working. Thank you, Burp. Alright, so let me just do that before I forget. Alright. Well, I'm glad you guys came to hear our updates. Thank you for being here and asking questions and supporting the community. As always, this was streamed to the YouTube, so if you've missed content or want to listen back to anything, you can, of course, check out the VOD on the YouTube channel. As well as when they are ready, the meeting question notes. I will try to get those to you guys much sooner than a month late. I apologize for October's being very late. That was a dropped ball that was completely my fault. Meant to get them out, then completely forgot about them. These ones are also much shorter, so hopefully they don't take as much time for us to go through and double check. Because basically the reason we don't release them right after is we want to double check for like any shorthand that was done and make sure the answers are fully complete and written out. And sometimes I speak very fast, sometimes the note takers miss stuff, and that's a me speaking too fast problem, not a them problem. But we just like to make sure that they're up to the quality of that they should be. So, as always, if you guys have further questions, you can always ask in the Discord or a staff member. You can always reach out. If you have any issues or problems with anybody or anything with the server itself, you can always reach out to a disciplinary staff member who should be able to help with that. If you are interested in applying for a staff position, please feel free to make an application in our Discord forum for the staff applications. We do still check them on the Reddit, but I feel like more people are more inclined to do them in the Discord. However, I would like to make a note that the staff applications, the way Discord works, the forum seems to like close them after a while. So if you are still interested and you have an application that was already put in and not dealt with, I would recommend you like bump it every so often to make sure it doesn't sorry, Jordy completely threw off my thought. To make sure it doesn't disappear or get closed. Because I've noticed a few that were closed. And of course, if you decide you're no longer interested or no longer available, you can also close it yourself, I believe, as well. So yeah, if you have any interest in helping out or want to be part of the staff team, please make an application. For whatever positions that you're interested in, you are allowed to apply for more than one if you think you could be a fit in more than one area. But we just generally won't bring you on for more than one at a time. Also, please don't forget to check out our YouTube, which has, fun videos. We also have a TikTok. I'm not sure what's on the TikTok at the moment. But, so I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I'm not sure if we'll be doing a meeting in December because we have not always done one not always, but we haven't done some in December's because it tends to end up falling on like the holiday weekend. So if we don't have one in December, please also have a wonderful December, Christmas, or Hanukkah, or whatever holiday that you celebrate. And a, great New Year as well. So thank you guys for coming, and have a wonderful day.
Bye.
Goodbye.
And for anyone watching on the YouTube, you guys have a wonderful day too.
Bye.
Stop ruining my endings.
No.
Goodbye.